This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, I think let's get started so others will join. Is that fine? Sridhar, Ravi, and Pawan?
Yes, yes, sir. We can start up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so let us try to recap of what we discussed in earlier sessions. Yeah. So let me share my desktop. So you can also play the recording. I think I've shared the recordings. If not, please let me know if I have not received it. Yeah. So yeah. So let me just open the presentation. Yeah. So we all know that how this particular chat GPT is going to work. Yeah. So but we need to understand some of the technical aspects of chat GPT 4. Yeah. So remember, let's understand the major technical aspects that will be taken care by GPT-4. Yeah. The first and foremost thing is what? So it follows what we call multi-layered artificial neural network. Meaning what? Let us say we supply some input data, right? Now, how that particular input data will be understood by GPT? That's a question, right? So what it does is it is going to divide input data into what? Multiple layers, and those layers could be expressed in vertical form and also in what? Horizontal form, which means the kind of parallelism that will take place in vertical as well as horizontal form. Remember that. For example, let's say we supplied 100 rows as input, 4 splits. For each split, horizontal, and 4 splits, they are all what? Vertical. The simple example. Yeah. So that will be taken care internally with respect to how the split would take place. Like for example, even if we take our human brain, right? Let's say if someone talks, we listen and we apply brain. Two things, right? Similarly, if we talk, our what you call mouth and brain will be active. So likewise, things will happen in parallel. Some will be vertical, some will be horizontal. So depending upon the type of activity that we do, right? Appropriate type of parallelism, like vertical, horizontal, would take place. Like how neurons works in our brain, right? Like if we take while eating or thinking or hearing or applying a brain, each of them they're all neurons, right? Or you can say cells. Yeah. Same way, even artificial network also would work. Yeah. Fine. That's one thing. And second thing, how many neurons that we can that can be supported by GPT-4. If you take what you call pre-GPT-4, they don't support this many number of neurons, but they support less than that. But anyway, now we are beyond GPT-4, right? So it supports what 100 billion neurons, which means we can have more than what I call 100 layers, which means in parallel, it's like vertical as well as horizontal. And we can also take care of this many number of synapses. This is just a rough number, guys, but it supports beyond that. Remember, yeah. So that's about with respect to neurons and corresponding layers, right? So which means the kind of degree of split would take place based on what? Many layers. Yeah. If we have enough number of what we call resources, then we can have what we call corresponding number of splits that can take place. Yeah. Now the next bullet point is what? It can communicate in what 26 different languages. But this part I didn't talk about it with practical examples. I think I've just given some examples, but I'll try to talk about it today. Yeah. For example, if you try to ask question in English and which need to be translated to Telugu, Hindi, or some other language, right? French or whatever, right? It does it by itself. You know? So that way, for example, you can supply Hindi text as input. It will reply in English, or you can supply Telugu as input. It will do the response. Yeah. So we can also see that. Yeah. Word-wise translation, sentence-wise translation, or phrase-wise translation, all of them would be achievable in GPT-4. So in GPT 3.5 also it supports, but limited. Yeah, but it supports. So now the question, so how many words that can be processed by GPT-4 at a time? Yeah. So on average, 25,000 words, which means around 52 pages of text can be supplied as input. In case if we have more than 52 pages, right? Then what we could do is there are two ways we can solve that. One, we can zip and send, then it can process more. And second, we can also have a split of complete document in terms of what 52 or 50 pages. So at the end, we can combine. So that way also we can what you call take care of it as a fallback approach. But if you want the solution in one stretch, for now it supports what around 52 pages. But anyway, we have fallback option through which we can take care of more than 52 pages, or we can say multiples of 50 pages. It could be any number, so all of them can be taken care by applying what again read input data multiples of 50 and combine at the end like whatever what you call result that we got in multiples of what 50 pages. Yeah. So that is possible that we have to do it by ourselves, but by default it supports all these many things. Yeah. Now, when it comes to what you call code generation, right? It supports major languages, especially object-oriented structure languages. For example, as we all know that Python is a hybrid language, or we can say that it supports structured programming language or procedure programming language plus object-oriented language plus scripting language. We just by using Python language, we can it can act as what interpreter. It can act as what simple structure programming language, or it can also act as what pure object-oriented programming. All of them would be taken care by using Python because Python has got many modules. For example, let us say we need to build a Python code in order to automate stock market data. Like if you take India, right? NSE or BSE, National Stock Exchange, whatever, right? In US, that's a NASDAQ or Dow Jones, whatever, right? So which means we can take care of building Python code or Python script in order to get the market data automated for any kind of market. It could be Indian, US, any other European market, whatever. Similarly, how do you do that? So we need to import appropriate models, and those models are available and ready to use. That we can't do it by using Java. Java has got a bit old language, right? It doesn't have all the capabilities supported by Python, but it has got many, but not as many as we could do, or as much as we could do with Python programming language. That is why it is always advisable to learn Python. Learn Python means we don't need to sit and write code for understanding how to write Python code for hello world or quadratic expression. All that we don't need to do. We already have got, I think, as I said yesterday, right? So we can use ChatGPT help to understand like what Python does, or we don't need to worry. You can just ask for a question. The rest will be taken care by GPT. Yeah, we'll talk about that with practical examples so that you will understand how Python can be used as what scripting language, how Python can be used as structured language, and how Python can be used as object-oriented language. So in three perspectives, we can talk about it with some practical examples with a different, let's say, practical example. For example, let us say we need to calculate, let us say, sum of squares of natural numbers and extend above this particular formula to what cubes, or we can also extend that to what quad, whatever. So that's one simple mathematical stuff. Likewise, we can also supply statistical formula as input. For example, if you take any banking industry, right, like investment banking, especially where we calculate exposure, right, for future expectations or future demands. Yeah. So which means prediction of future demands. For that, we calculate what we call exposure. Like we have got multiple ways to calculate. So to do that, we can supply pre-built statistical formulas as input to GPT. Accordingly, you'll get to see the corresponding result. That can also be done quite easily by using Python. Yeah. So likewise, you can think of any industry, like if you take healthcare industry where we focus on HIPAA standards, based on HIPAA standards, you'll have corresponding pre-built statistical equation that also can be taken as input, and results should be in line with what HIPAA specification. So that also we can give it as input to what GPT. That will be taken care by GPT, where it can generate Python code with optimization in mind. If not optimized, we can also request GPT optimize the above code, which can be used to meet SLA, let's say around 8-hour SLA. So you can give input. Based on that, it can generate to a maximum extent. Remember, we cannot say that it will give 100% of accuracy, but it's closer to accurate. Yeah, because this also again learning, whatever learning that we have provided, right, to this particular GPT pre-trained data, right, based on that only it can provide that much of accuracy, which means 100% accuracy nobody can guarantee that. Yeah. So similarly, we'll also talk about some examples under Java, like how well we could able to perform pure object orientation by using Java, if not a mix of both structured uh, object orientation. Structured can't be supported in Java because most of the cases we'll be using what object orientation. Yeah. Similarly, scripting also. For example, if you want to build some web pages with scripting, right? We can also use it. C++ is the oldest language, so which is again in most of the operating systems they have been built by using a C++. Yeah, we'll try to do some examples, but our primary focus points towards what Python because that's most widely used language. Yeah, so we'll write what you call, we'll go with many examples with respect to many information management layers like access, discover, cleanse, MDM, ETL, all that, right? All that I'm going to talk with practical examples by using a Python with n number of modules supported by Python programming language. We'll try to stress towards that because it is good. One, with respect to design, with respect to architecture, with respect to modularity, with respect to flexibility, with respect to reusability, with respect to what we can say uh, most of the design factors, if not all. Yeah, compared to other languages, right? Python is the most powerful and most widely used programming come scripting language. Yeah, so others, yes, but if you take some of the products, existing products, right, they are built by using Java. But yes, if the existing application or tool was built by using a Java, right, then it is better to generate a code by using Java so that no wrappers are required to perform any conversion. So based on the application that we deal, right, it is always advisable to generate similar programming script rather than usage of other programming language, because if you use other programming language, right, then there has to be some interpreter to convert Python form to what? Java form. So which is bit expensive. Yeah? So that we need to avoid doing it. Yeah. So likewise, we'll talk about some practical examples, guys. We'll try to focus on, or we'll focus on Python, Java, C++ little examples, JavaScript one or two examples. So Ruby, PHP, Swift, Kotlin, they are not that much required. I'll try to show one example for each, but we'll focus primarily on Python and Java. So they are the popular and most widely used tools in the market, right? So that's it. So then once you understand that, now we can talk about reality. Yeah. So like we talked about conversational, meaning what? So user can supply any kind of input, and based on the input, one can start retrieving the corresponding result. Remember, guys, the way you ask question, right, might differ from the way I ask question. Yeah. So based on that, GPT is going to respond. So that is why, especially in Chat GPT, we need to make sure that we are going to supply what as specific question as possible, so that you will get better accuracy. Remember this. Yeah? So that we need to keep in mind, guys, when you try to ask the question. But in case if you are not sure, right, if you are new to this particular domain or language, or even expertise you don't have, let's say technical side also, in that case we can start with generic question and nail down to what specific question, but that will take a bit more time. But if you're sure about it, try to put specific question, or else you can just come from top to bottom most. That's also possible, because you can keep on having iterative questions or linear questions or incremental questions or fine-tunable questions. So we can ask questions in a different perspectives depending upon how we get the response from GPT. If you're not satisfied, then fine-tune your question till you get what satisfied answer. Remember that. Yeah. So that's it, guys, about conversational stuff. This particular conversation, now we have it in what? Textual form. Now the question, can we make it automated, guys? For example, for today's business, let's say we have what? These many set of questions, we expect the response based on the response from previous question. Second question would be put in. Likewise, it can go on with n number of questions. Likewise, depending upon the business need or expectation, we can have set of questions formed. Remember, guys, it's not mandatory that we should stick to only one set of questions. Questions can also always be varied, guys. So we need to build a template which will have the capability to read the inputs from the user with the parameterization, so that runtime values could differ from day to day, or week to week, or month to month, or quarter to quarter, whatever. So it all depends on the kind of domain or business that we deal with. Yeah, we'll talk about that, like how we can make what multiple inputs that could be communicated. Fine. So this part, I think I talked about it. Language translation. So we can supply one language text as input, and we can expect the result in another language. Yeah, like just like a translator, guys. So like we use whatever translators, right? It's similar to that. Yeah, which means why we are talk we have other tools, bunch of other tools in the market. Why we are trying to talk about very silly things? Because these things are there since several years, right? Because in one model, which is GPT model, we could able to achieve many things. So this is one of them. Yeah. So remember that. Yeah. Now, yes, this is about languages, speaking languages, yeah? And programming language. I think we talked about it. Now the next question: program language. How do you take care, guys? Let us say you have written the code in Java with for an existing application. Now Let's say with respect to what debugging wise, usage wise, performance wise, yeah, let's say existing programming language is not as per your expectation or as per your need. In that case, we can also ask what I call GPT to convert existing programming language code to what newer language, let's say Java to Python example, which means this language translation we can apply it for both from the programming languages and also from what speaking languages. So it can be used for both. Remember that. Yeah. Clear, guys? Yeah. If you have any questions in between, right, you can stop and ask questions, guys. Yeah. That's about translation for both programming come speaking languages. Yeah. Now, the next thing, even let us say, just by using GPT, based on what facial expression and the way person emotional react, yeah, we can also identify the person's attitude or behavior based on what emotional tones, or we can judge, or we can also have what we call sentimental analysis, because let's say in India, so most of the people are more sentimental compared with, let's say, US. So now from that we can easily, from by using GPT, we can easily supply, okay, this person looks like this, can I get the response with respect to what sentiment, yeah. So that also we could take care. For example, let us say we all know like a soundex and niches algorithms, right, where like a how phonetics are going to work in order to identify the accent along with what the way uh, they behave. Yes or no? So, so likewise, within this particular sentimental analysis, we could take care of that. Plus, emotional feelings also could be inferred. So those things have been taken care as part of this. Yeah. So we'll see anyway. Many more examples as we go on. Fine. Now the next thing, guys, I think this I talked about it. So let us say we have written an article which contains, let us say, 20 lines of 20 lines of text. Now we need to read 20 lines to understand or to summarize like what this particular article all about. Yes, sir. So now the question, let's say we don't have that much time to read 20 lines of text. So can we summarize so that we can just understand like what this particular article all about? In that case, we can supply complete article as input to this GPT. It would produce what? Summary of that particular article based on number of lines. You can also ask, let's say, summarize the above article in 3 lines or 4 lines or 1 line also you can ask. Based on that, it is going to supply comprehensive, what you call summary information. Remember this, yeah? So that's it. So apart from that, yeah, that's about summary part, right? So because people will talk about with many stories, yeah, but do we have that much time to listen all that? No, right? If you have time, yes, you'll get a detailed understanding if you could able to read it. If there is a time, if not, try to get like what this particular input talks about, which is paragraph or article, whatever, or blog. After that, if it makes sense, then get into what detail text. Yeah. So that's it. Then the next bullet point is what? These are features, guys, supported by GPT-4. Now the next question. ChatGPT can learn and adapt to individual users' preferences, behaviors, providing personal recommendations and responses. For example, the kind of attitude or behavior or personal preferences, the kind of interaction that I have is totally different from other person. Each person is unique in nature, right? Yeah. Some could be similar, many could be dissimilar, or vice versa. Anything could be there for each person. Yeah. Now, If you provide the inputs based on what you have, then it can recommend some what you call what like where do we improve all that, like a personalized recommendations we can supply, or it can also give us recommendations, with responses. So yes, this normally we don't use these things much. Mainly we'll be using what summary part and also conversational interfaces most of the cases. Language will be used but less compared to these two. Now let us talk about very important things. So much more important than what we discussed with 5 bullet points, right? Content creation, I think I talked about yesterday. So major reason why ChatGPT has become more popular, because of what? We can create any kind of content based on whatever you expected. That's a general thing. Like for example, here they have just given some examples, like a blogging and writing articles and producing description for products or your person. You can add many more things. So based on whatever you ask for, or this ask could be, let's say, keywords, or it could be even long text, short text, or whatever. It could be any prompt, guys, detailed or short or mixed. It could be anything. Yeah. So based on that, ChatGPT would provide the detailed or short content. Yeah. If you want only 10 lines, you can just ask for 10 lines, generate only 10 lines. If you ask for 100 lines, it can generate 100 lines. Yeah. Or if you want, let us say, you have got a content and you need to convert that particular content to what? PPT or a doc form or some other form, yeah, or even video form or audio form. All such things also could be taken care by using what? GPT. So remember this. So we can think of many things. Prompt could be a simple word or simple character, simple text, paragraph, embedded what you call images, whatever, or separate images or video, or it's a mix of many. Yeah, which means we can also supply the document maximum of 52 pages, which will have mix of different types. Like I talked about single character, single word, multiple words, then multiple paragraphs, or we can have a table or embedded images or embedded objects or embedded tables, or we can say references, and also linked documents. So which means we can supply any kind of prompt as input. Based on that, GPT has got capability to provide the content based on what you ask for. Let's you supply the mixed document, but you need what? What is the summary of the supplied document? Let's say you have supplied 50-page document. You just want what? Summary in 10 lines or 5 lines, whatever. It will just convert. Yeah? So generation of a content in a detailed form or in a concise form or short form, you could easily do it by using what? ChatGPT. Yeah? So not only that, so we can also convert one type of document to other type of document, like a doc to PDF, doc to PPT, or PDF to PPT, or whatever. So all are possible, but these conversions are not that great, guys. It is still under evolution. Yes, most of the cases they have taken care, but some cases are still under process, guys. It is not 100% of accuracy. Let's say I would say 30 to 40% of accurate, because they are still working on it with respect to what? Converting one form to other form. Yeah. Anyway, we'll spend a lot of time on this, like, because when you try to apply any business logic for information management products, we need to apply what? Different types of prompts depending upon the type of functionality that we deal with. For example, if you want to carry out analysis, we supply one type of prompt. or if you want to identify the issues, then one type of other type of prompt. If you want to perform identification of quality issues or quality techniques, or let's say some validation issues or whatever, right? Another type of prompt. Likewise, depending upon the layer that we deal within the information management product, we are going to supply appropriate prompt in order to get the corresponding results. And those prompts could be, as I said, it could be a single character, one word, set of words, paragraph, or n number of paragraphs, or n number of pages, or whatever. Or page can contain mixed types. Mixed types means table, text, whatever. But if you supply mixed text, no, like embedded images, all that, right? Accuracy is going to go down, guys, because it is still a revolution. But text wise, accuracy is close to what, 100 percentage. But if you supply mixed document, right, accuracy will go down like 60 to 70, like that. Yeah, because they are still working on it. So there is a Gemini, right? So they are a bit ahead of these guys compared to ChatGPT. That's what they claim, but in reality, we have not seen it practically. That's what theoretically they have said it. So we need to see that practically. But anyway, ChatGPT is more practical, guys, compared to Gemini so far. Yeah? So now the next question. Next is what? Customer support. Remember, guys, even if we take forget about other products, like what BPO guys would do. Let us take our, let's say we are trying to focus on its information management, right? In that, let us say if you ask for something, you should get the response in an automated way. There are some activities which can be done, what you call, in automated way, but not all. So whatever could be done, right? So those things we can get it automated by using what? GPT. Remember, without putting much effort, because each of the input would be taken care by appropriate decision making block. I think I talked about it this slide, but we can extend this. Yeah, so it's just like what IVR, right? Like how it works. We press one to get something, or to do some to get something, press two to get something else, whatever. So depending upon the type of question that be asked by customer, right, it will respond automatically. Why do we need that if we already have IVR, right? No. This is basically, let us say, we are building a solution, right? While building a solution, we can, let's say, we can ask for something. See what is the result. Based on the result, we can take what? Subsequent action, which means this customer support, not only from external customer point of view, even while building flow of activities within information management also, it is going to help us. Now, which means, let us say, based on the status of previous operation, we can take what? Subsequent operation. All this can be done different way also, but yes, that's a, it is a customized as a parameterized. So customer can provide any input in this file or some text, what is speech, or let's say whatever they talk, right? So that will be converted to appropriate text. That text will be taken as input for downstream flow within this information management. Even such things also could be taken care even within our solution, not only from external perspective, like what BPO, it's based on what external user inputs, right? But here we can use it for both external and also internal. Like if you know, like how guide designer work in application integration of Informatica Cloud, right? Yes or no? There we supply the input, based on that you'll get the response. So that could be taken care, what you call, in automated way with ChatGPT, automatical, guys, which is much better than what we do in what? Guide designer of cloud. But anyway, we can think of many more. Yes, for now, I can just think that customer support not only for external, we can also use it for internal to any product flow. Remember that. Yeah, and that too, this particular support could be one, textual form; second, pronunciation form; third, mix. It could be, some could be pronounced, some could be what, text. Yeah, So all can be taken care. Yeah. So because translation part we already talked about, right? Now the data analysis, I think I talked about some bullet points on this. So here I think we need to spend a lot of time, guys, because as part of analysis, so there are lots of people are working on this particular area. Yeah. So remember, most of the activities that will be done by current data analysts or stewards or let's say even SMEs in technical side or let's say information analyst or we can think of many other guys who are going to focus on data and also information both. So all of them would be replaced by ChatGPT quite easily, provided we need to supply the right inputs. Anyway, those right inputs we can get it from existing what you call analyst in case if you want the right inputs, or else you can ignore that. Based on customer need, we can supply appropriate input. You'll get what the response in a short time. Remember this, yeah. That's the first bullet point. And next is what? See, if you take any tool that we have in the market, right? Can we carry out analysis for any amount of data? Answer is no. Remember, yeah. So answer is yes, provided you need to support many hardware and software. Also, there is a limited support all that. But with this ChatGPT, there is no limit at all. As long as you have as a proper cloud infrastructure, sorry, with our default software, it would take care by itself because we don't depend on any third-party tool, right? Yes or no? So we are going to generate a code will take care of it. Code expects what? Underlying hardware. If you supply hardware, it would take care of any amount of data. There is no limit at all. So none of the tools that we have in the market, right, with respect to analysis, they don't support what you call large volume of data. Remember that. Yeah. So that's where again ChatGPT is going to lead the market. Remember that. Yeah. So now let us take let's assuming that let me take one of the specific example. Informatica analyst or Informatica data explorer or let's say IBM InfoSphere analyst. Yeah. So these tools have got what? One, with respect to features limitation, and second, with respect to data limitation, third, with respect to what? Random probable limitation. All of them can be overwhelmed by using what? ChatGPT. I've just given some examples of analysis tools, guys, but there are a bunch of tools. Anyway, if you try to understand one or two, that's more than enough. Based on that, similar approach can be adapted for other tools. Let's say you are using Colibra data quality and someone else using Informatica data quality. Someone else, let's say, IB InfoSphere quality stage. Yes or no? The way they would do would be different, but the concept will be same. For example, let's say we need to perform data standardization for what? 1 million rows. Can we do it, let us say, by using all data quality tools or like 1 billion rows or 1 trillion rows based on our expected SLA? Answer is no, because they have got a lot of limitations. Answer is yes. With ChatGPT, it's very easy. Yeah. So that's a simple example which I'm trying to give with respect to what? One of the quality stuff. Yeah. Or one of the quality issue, you can say, standardization issue. Yeah, or come up with a standardized result, both identifying issues and what you call come up with the data standardized, both would be taken care quite easily by using ChatGPT. Yeah, I'll talk about some of the practical examples as part of once you start analysis part, so that you will understand the practicality of it. Yeah, like yesterday I was trying to talk about, we will talk about it with ChatGPT. We will also see practically with existing tools. So from that we can easily correlate what it was against with what it is with the ChatGPT. Remember that. So that way you can easily visualize the effect, the usage of what you call ChatGPT, like how it is better than existing tools. Yeah. So I think, guys, based on my experience and gut feeling, so most of the tools will be replaced with what? ChatGPT. Most of the tools. I'll not say 100% because ChatGPT is also still evolving, right? Yes, most of them. I would say more than 90% or 80% at least. It can be replaced. So make sure that you are up to date with respect to understanding this GPTs. Now, if not GPT, we got many other AI tools. They are also okay, but Chat GPT is leading the market. Yeah. So that's it, guys. So I think jobs also will be replaced. Based on statistics, right? I think looks like 85 million. What do you call employees would be replaced by end of what 2025. Yeah. I'll talk about reason why, what kind of reasons they gave. So let us understand these technicalities. Yeah. So now the next question is what, let us say we need to build our own bot to perform specific operations. Yeah. So like for example, let us say we have got, yeah, let me take pharma industry, or let me take manufacturing industry, where what do they do? First operation, you should pick the raw material and place that onto what? Conveyor. Then that particular raw material will be sent to what? Next layer, where it has to perform, let us say, drilling operation. So what this particular gantry robot does, it is going to pick the raw material and place it onto this drilling machine. It does the respect to drilling operations, and output of that will be taken as input to the conveyor belt again. It is again robo, which is gantry robo, is going to place output of this particular semi-finished product of driller will be kept in conveyor belt. Again, it will be sent to what? Next layer, which is going to be miller. It does milling operation, and a gantry will be taken care here, like clicking and placing, right? Picking the semi-finished product from conveyor belt and placing it onto what? Miller machine. And after completion, right? Then again, it is going to place it onto what? Conveyor. So this will be taken care by appropriate robots that we already have it. They are physical things. What we are trying to talk here is what? Non-physical things, which means whatever can be done physical, we can also what I call create a design, which is what I call software bot. Based on that, we can supply this bot as input to PLC, which is programming logical controllers. So that knows like how to interpret and how to make machines to understand that particular PLC language, so that we can also use this bot as input to this manufacturing industry. Based on that, things would take place automatically. For example, in India itself, there's a company called Kia Motors, which is automobile company, where they have built bots to take care of what? Automatic or automated way to produce a car. They're producing cars, right? Kia Motors. Yeah. So likewise, like I gave one more generic example, right? Like how or what kind of operation that we do in any manufacturing industry. Yeah. So such things can be automated easily, guys. Remember, yeah. Which means, if you take manufacturing industry, right? If there are 100 employees who are working for to produce a product of any shape, we can replace 100 employees with what? Two or three or maximum 10. Yeah, that's it, which means 90 percentage of employment will cut down if we try to build what? A correct right bot. And building the right bot also, we just have to put a prompt, has to be taken care by chatbot. See, it is that easy, guys. But but where do we need to build intelligence here? Like how well we could able to supply the input. That is why in the coming years, right? I think by next year, next another 3 4 years, right? So there is going to be lot of prompt engineers. Remember, rather than tool specialist or data specialist or stewards, whatever, right? They'll be taken out. So, so technology not 100%, at least 70 to 80%. So, but it should go up to 90. But let us say worst case 70 to 80% of the people will be replaced. Yeah. So which means our primary focus point should be based on what? Prompt engineering. Now prerequisite for prompt engineering what? Chat GPT. That's what we are trying to understand, guys. Yeah. So that's it. So which means we can also think the chat part for any industry. Agriculture, I think I talked about it. In agriculture also we perform what? Cultivation, intercultivation, weeding, then irrigation, harvesting, and delivery and deployment. Yes or no? So all of these activities within this agriculture life cycle also can be built what you call as one of the agribot, and that will be supplied as input to what one of the what you call existing mission where we have to take care of from hardware perspective also IoT. So once you take care, no, then even agriculture activity also can be taken care of. Which means what? Now let me give one example in agriculture. Nowadays, most of the farmers are getting into losses because of what? They are putting a lot of effort with respect to what weeding and also for irrigation and also for intercultivation or harvesting, right? Now the question, how to cut down that particular labor? So once you, let's say first part is what? Build a bot, and second part is what? Take care of hardware, and third part is what? Execution. Once you are done with that, then so which means what? Let us if there are 100 people are working for weeding example, let's take only one, we can replace with what? Only one person. So that much of benefit we get it with what? ChatGPT with what you call hardware integration. Some hardware also we need to put some effort with IoT all that. So but apart from that, we also have to take the help from this ChatGPT. So which means automated activities that we do is what we call bot, which is in this case chatbot. We can talk, yeah. Which means for a given input, let's say today we need to what you call go with what 2 acres of weeding. That's the input to what our mission. So then based on that input, right, it will just perform the activities, right? Like for example, if you take farm robo, one of the embedded device where we encode like whatever chat gpt produced, we'll just put this particular code over there accordingly. We can just supply that as input to that robo, which is farm robo. What it does, it is going to what you call follow those instructions in order to perform weeding for 2 acres. That's it, yeah. So Paul, I think practical I'll try to show this guys because I am doing research for agriculture, so I am working on it anyway. So if I get time, I'll try to show that practically, like how we can apply chat gpt in reality in my field. I'll try to show that. But if I finish that embedded part still I'm doing it. Once I finish, I'll try to show it practically, guys, in for agriculture. Yeah. So that's it. About I think manufacturing, I gave one example. Automobiles, I gave one example. Practical, like what Kia Motors is doing, I talked about it. And third example, I was trying to give agriculture. Likewise, similar bots can be built for any industry. Yeah, like pharma also we can build it. Healthcare also we can build. Not all, wherever possible, right? We can build it. 100% is not possible, guys. Yes, we can cut down. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, about what you call different features supported by ChatGPT. So, guys, I think you guys are quite. So, try to ask some questions, guys, so that or else you'll get a sleep morning. Gayatri, Pavan, Ramesh, Ravi, and Sridhar. I think you're all there, right? Sridhar, Ravi, all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Shiva.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
Nurse.
We are listening.
fine. Yeah, don't try to stay, but these are very important points, guys. So I'm trying to talk about high level points now because based on this high level, we'll drill down as we go on. Because these are the major points, guys. Because once you have this high level perspective, right, drilling down anyway we'll do it, but it's not complex. Because first we need to get broader perspective, then we'll get into what specifics. Yesterday we talked about some specific things with respect to SQL, right? Same similar way, we are going to do it for Python, Java, shell scripting. These are prerequisites. After that, we'll talk about warehousing solution. Yeah. So like from right from access till we produce data warehouse, whatever. That's one of the scenario. So if I get time, I'll also try to talk about like how to perform that for stock market or some other industry. Yeah, fine. So fine. So one, if you understand one, right, complete flow, right. So rest you can also think and do it. Yeah. But if you ask me, let's say for one more industry, right, I can also explain that. Yeah. So that's it. Get about features part. Yeah. Now the next thing is what. So remember, GPT could be based on what different kinds of architectures. Yeah. It could be high level architecture or it could be deeper level architecture. Remember, guys. So now the question, when to choose what? So I think I talked about at high level. Remember, guys, let us say, let's take simple example, forget about ChatGPT. Let us say for today, we got 1 million rows of data. And now our SLA is what? 8-hour window. So within 8 hours, let's say we need to process 1 million rows. Let's say we have got the corresponding hardware. With that, we could able to meet SLA. Now the question, let's say tomorrow, as a tomorrow's business, let's say we are going to get 1 billion rows of data. But SLA will be same only, which is 8 hours. Can we achieve it with existing any tool? Answer is no. Yeah. So, yeah, but answer is yes. If they have one, software support, second, hardware support. But some tools they support it, but not all. Yeah. Like for example, some let's say informatics they support it, data they support it, open source they don't support it. To some extent they support it. Now the question, we don't care about who supports this particular chat GPT supports what? Deep learning architecture. Yeah. Meaning what? We can have n number of levels with respect to what? Divisioning of source data. So based on the divisions, we are going to have proportionate number of or degree of parallelism that would be taken care internally by itself. We don't need to do it. Yeah. So we just have to supply one hardware as input and second prompt as input. Based on these two, rest would be taken care by GPT. That's it. So which means most of the cases it is always advisable to use what? Deep learning architecture. Because let us say initially you started with simple NLP and you could able to get the job done. So let's say due to exponential growth of the business, data got changed from 100 rows to 100 billion rows. Can you take care of it with existing solution? Answer is no. That's why at the inception phase itself, we should pick up the right learning architecture, let's say deep learning here, so that it can take care of large learning models and also what? Rest. Rest means anyway less than LLMs. Yeah. So that's why it's always advisable to use this. Yeah. With respect to context, these are very minor things, guys. So contextual part, NLP part, and also any kind of dealing with any third party. These are minor things. Major thing is what? Choosing the right architecture. Remember this. Yeah. So that is why GPT-4 would be driven from deep learning. When GPT 3.5 they have not done it well, but 4 it's really good, guys. Yeah. So they can claim they have done deep learning for 4, not for 3.5. 3.5 is not that great. Yeah. They have just claimed that it's not that great. Yeah. 4 is really good. Yeah. So NLP context level is very straightforward, guys. Yeah. And now, I think one day Sridhar was trying to ask question with respect to what? External. integration to external applications or whatever, right? Answer is yes. One of the examples that we can see here is what? Knowledge base integration. Remember, guys, this knowledge base could be expressed based on what? Two sub factors. One could be internal, second could be external. I think I talked about high level. For example, there is a third party Twiggy which has got what you call external data. Now the question, we don't care about complete internet data, but what we care here is only Twiggy data, which is central store. Now our solution should be based on what? This particular Twiggy only. In that case, we need to know how to talk to Twiggy repository, and then it's a knowledge based repository, and then supply the appropriate input and get the corresponding response. So that way we could able to integrate to what? External knowledge base repository. That's one thing. Likewise, you can think of GitHub or any other third party. Let's say we can say storage media. The store could be data or metadata, or it could be mix of both, or it could be even what imaging part also. Yeah? So all of them would be taken care quite easily by using what? ChatGPT. Remember that. Yeah. But we cannot guarantee, cannot say that accurate. Yes, more or less closer to what? Accurate information that it could produce. It's not 100%, guys. Nobody can claim that's 100% is accuracy. Yeah? So that's it. That's one thing. Similarly, now you can ask question: can we integrate this particular, let's say, GPT with any other hardware-based applications, or where data got stored in what bits or bytes? Answer is yes, guys. So there also it is possible, provided we need to supply the hardware details like a pin information, right? Which is 1, which is 0, whatever, right? Those things will be treated as what? Tokens. So those tokens should be applied like as username, password, right? Once you supply, right, we could also what integrate with hardware devices. Yeah, which means what? Knowledge base, it did not have to be at user level. It could be even at what? Hardware level also. For example, if we call back the legacy stuff like thinking machines or bar readers, right? Where they are purely driven from what? Hardware only. In such cases also, there is a provision to generate a code from GPT, which can be used to talk to what? Even pure hardware devices. Yeah. But only thing we need to supply the appropriate tokens as input. Yeah. So that's it, guys. So in general, we can say that anything and everything could be done. Yeah. But some cases it could be 90% accuracy, some cases 95, some cases 60. It all depends on what you call how accurate, how accuracy of data that we have in repository, guys. It's not the issue from GPT side. Remember that. It all depends on what? How the repository contains. Based on that, you'll get the proportionate accuracy from GPT side, which means issue is not only from GPT side, issue could be even from what? Repository side. Remember both the sides. Yeah, that's the one thing. Let us say we have got an application which is based on what? Some are based on user driven, some are based on system driven, some are based on kernel driven, some are based on hardware driven. In that case, can we take care of having what you call, can we take care of building a code and get it interfaced with what? Third party application, which in turn has got what? Nested interactions, like I talked about, right? Answer is yes, guys. That's also possible. That's what I said. Anything and everything could be done quite easily without having the knowledge on those things. You don't need to have knowledge on hardware. You don't need to have knowledge on like how chipsets are going to work. You don't need to have knowledge on how the pins are going to work for to interface like 32-bit or 60-bit and whatever. You don't need to have knowledge on what how device drivers are going to work, or you don't need to have knowledge on kernel. You don't need to have knowledge on programming language, which we already discussed. This is at application level, right? So, and you don't need to have knowledge on repository also, like how application level store happens. You don't need to have anything. What you need to have, you need to have the like how to supply the right input so that you could able to extract the corresponding or proportionate right result. If you supply wrong input, you'll get the wrong result. If you supply 50% of right input, 50% right data. Likewise, you can just fine tune it. So through that, we could able to get closer to the 100% of accuracy, guys. So this is going to one of the, it's not complex actually. Out of all, the complex thing is what? So deep learning stuff and content, guys. These are the two important things. Rest are all derived from that, guys. No, knowledge-based integration, cloud-based infrastructure, all that they're all derived from that. Once you have content, right? Content could be anywhere. It could be cloud. It could be even some repository. It could be anywhere. It could be in an application form. It could be in some storage form. It could be some other mixed form. Whatever. It could be anything. But ultimately, it's a content, right? That's why content is going to be the major piece when it comes to what ChatGPT. Yeah. So that's it, guys. So now, once you understand this, the next step is what? We could also understand some what you call how internally it is going to what you call perform the divisioning part, execution part, interaction part, connectivity part. So that we could able to see as part of this particular diagram, guys. But we don't need to remember this much. But why we need to remember this? Because if you know it, we can easily visualize like how this particular chat GPT is going to work with underlying neural network architecture. Yeah, I think this part I talked about it. I think first session itself we got input layer, output layer, and hidden layer. That's what we discussed. Now the question. Now let us say we separate something. How this something will be taken as input to what downstream. So that's where every neuron or each neuron is connected to what every other neuron. Let's say our ears to brain, mouth to brain, and mix of these three. The interaction could be anything, right? In our human brain, right? Same way, like what we can say, right? One we use it for each function, right? Yes or no? Same way, in neural network also, it does the same thing. Yeah? So now how the divisioning would take place, right? This will be translated to what? In another form. Yeah, one neuron with other neuron. Now the next question, are we going to make multiple neurons to talk to each other with neighborhood what we call layers, which means one with another. For example, first one, all yellowed ones will talk to what? Light blue. But can we make yellowed ones to talk to what you call thick blues? Answer is yes. That's where residual network. Why we need to do that? Just now I talked about, right? Some cases when we are talking, right? So our mouth and brain will be active. Yes or no? But we are skipping, let's say, ears. In that case, residual network would come in. Some cases we'll be using what three things like mouth, ears, and also what brain. Yeah. So in that case, neighboring this convolutional part is going to play a role. So depending upon what we expect, right? So accordingly, appropriate connectivity would take place to get the job done. But we don't need to remember this much. But why I'm trying to talk about it, because when you try to fine tune what you call our prompt, our input on, and also setting up the hardware, right? In that context, if we have this kind of knowledge, right, then we could able to configure the hardware properly, and we can also apply appropriate optimization based on the kind of input that we supply. Remember that, guys. So based on that, if we have this kind of knowledge, right, then we can easily visualize and supply the corresponding input. That's why I'm trying to talk, guys, or else it is not required. It's a job of what, Chatgpt. Yeah. But if you know at least at high level, like how neighborhood connection would take place or how non-neighborhood connection would take place, which is skip one and directly interact with what, subsequent layer. So that's also possible here. Yeah. So which means, as I was trying to say earlier, right, like for example, let's say we have got 1 million data, one level of divisioning, 1 billion data, other level of divisioning, and based on this data, second input is what, text also. Based on that, this data interactions would take place with across neighborhoods or within a neighborhood. Remember that. Or we can also skip one, let's say out of a number of layers. Let's say one with three, three with five, five with seven, whatever, or one, two, three, four, five. Anything could happen. So depending upon the input that we ask for, so it all based on what we ask. Ask is going to be the major thing, guys, in GPT. Yeah? So with this, we'll stop for the day, guys. So we'll try to continue. So on Monday morning, sorry, I think Monday morning, right, 8 o'clock. So yeah, if you have any questions, so you can just shoot out now. It's purely theoretical. I talked about, guys. First few sessions are introductory sessions. I think yesterday we talked about mostly practical oriented. So at Monday also we'll have what you call more towards practical oriented. I'll just talk about let's say basic concepts in language if you need it, or else even that without that also you can understand. Anyway, I'll talk about it on Monday. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Narsam sir, it's quite interesting. Quite
so
interesting.
that's all for
Yeah.
today, guys. So we'll meet on Monday morning, right? So I'll share this record. Just boring thing. Yeah. Yes, Sridhar.
Ravi Mohan is starting something.
Yeah.
So,
Ravi, you want to say something?
Um, yeah, no, no. I was just telling you, it's quite interesting.
Okay,
So
fine.
many areas
Okay,
have
then
been
we'll meet
covered
on
in
Monday.
it. Sure. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Ravi.
Bye.
So, okay, guys. So we'll meet on Monday morning. Huh? So happy weekend. Huh? And bye.
okay.